Yeah, so take two. Shot Tanner, thanks for your time. Yeah, a little bit of a learning curve this morning, and it just goes to show like we're not all perfect, you know. Sometimes we we make these mishaps, and
No,
yeah,
of course. Yeah.
I did a 30-minute chat with Tanner this morning, and we didn't get audio. So anyway, positivity and yeah, mindset definitely to keep going and try and redo what good we did. So Tanner, let's retake here, and thank you for joining me again and for making the time once again in your busy lifestyle that you live. Brew, today you got the day off just to have this chat, and I feel blessed just to get the time to be able to go through a few questions with you. So, Tanner, just briefly, do you want to just give me a bit of an introduction on who you are and what you do for a living?
Yeah, sure. So basically, a musician, which includes I perform live. I'm a loop artist, so I create loops like a one-man band. I'm also a recording artist. I release songs. So that's my full-time job. Um, yeah, been doing that full time about 2, 3 years. It's been my main sort of source of income for 4 or 5 years. I studied chemical engineering before that, so I did a bit of work in that field. But
Yeah,
I've been playing music my whole life. I started out as a classical pianist when I was younger. Then I picked up the guitar, went into rock and roll, funk, indie. I played in bands through high school and university. And then basically between
mm,
jobs, I was busking, started the whole one man band thing, playing around with loops. And then in 2019, uh, basically decided to leave my job, go full time. And yeah, just sort of it soared, playing lots of venues, pubs, private parties. And it's just been growing from there. I've released quite a few songs, a lot of originals, a lot of covers. And
good ones. Yeah.
here we are today. Yeah, and it's been a very blessed journey. So yeah, thanks for having me on.
Basically, yeah, sick. Thank you for sharing your time. And but yeah, in my opinion, yeah, the young version of the Johnny Clegg, bud. So keep it
Hey,
up.
thanks. I hear that. I hear that quite a bit. So I think we need some of those
Yeah,
vibes back in this country. So
shut.
shut.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're doing great things, Brew. You know, especially as a younger muser out there. I come from a family who's just been stuck in music, and it's I've been fortunate enough to be educated regarding old music from the 50s, 60s, 70s. You know, rock and roll. I wouldn't say too much on the 80s, but yeah, 70s. But yeah, definitely, bud. And yeah, we've all been at some point in our lives bopping around the house to a bit of Eric Clapton, John Lennon, the Beatles. And I know that's not your genre, but I know you know it, or you're aware of that type of music, as a muso at least. So yeah, Tanner, basically your profession consists of a lot of travels. My stepfather's also a muso, as you know, and I got to experience him being away from home quite often, on the road, you know, traveling for work and stuff. That's exactly what you do, bro. You know, I've seen recently, we discussed it earlier as well, that you traveled overseas to do some live shows, and you had a bit of an external or a foreign audience, which is, I'm sure, quite nice for you, bud. Um,
Yeah.
and for you to get that exposure, and we also got to see it, you know, and we saw the vibes, we saw how like electric it was, you know, it's great, and I almost felt like that proud South African, hey, we check
That's
it and
awesome.
go, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm pumped, and I'm chuffed that
Back to Deutschland.
you
Yeah.
you represented us well, but good job. So do you want to chat a little bit about your journeys and travels out of country and within country?
Yeah. So yeah, it's been something I've had to adjust to, but obviously really blessed. I mean, it's something I think every musician kind of strives for. And yeah, especially this year, it's just taken off. So I've done like 3 shows, sort of extended tours to the UK. Yeah, and this year was really special. Just packed it out because I had a lot of public shows and then privates as well. And just for people
Mm.
to be willing, especially this year was actually an English couple who
Yes, yes.
whose South African friend recommended me for their wedding. It's a huge sort of step in faith to pay for me to come all the way out there. But it was amazing, and they were so stoked. And yeah, to be able to entertain an audience that I'm not used to like that, and bring the South African
Mm.
flair, and to see how much they enjoyed it
What a blessing, yeah.
was awesome. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
obviously just playing as well to all the Saffers all the expats that have immigrated over there. I think it just to bring them a piece of home as well. It was
Mm.
heartwarming for all of us. So
Mm.
yeah, it's really cool to be able to use music in that way, and for me to also get to see friends where I know most
Mm.
people they don't get to see their mates that have immigrated for years or whatever it is. I'm really blessed to also move around the country and see my friends, and pretty much every other weekend I could be somewhere close to someone I know, or I'm seeing a new part of the country, and comes with its challenges. It's exhausting, and airplanes and airports and the
Mm.
stress of
Mm.
it. But yeah, I've really learned to find a groove and a space in there, and be comfortable, and just to see the blessing in it. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's been really awesome.
And as a South African, the word we commonly use is gees. You bought the gees, and the
Yeah.
South Africans seriously appreciated that side. So we're always fortunate enough to watch it like from far and local whenever we get the chance. Um,
Awesome.
and Bud, yeah, I know I saw you had posted a photo the other day. Like, are you? What did you say about a carousel man?
Carousel Crowder.
Carousel.
Yeah.
Are you a carousel crowder? I had a good chuckle with that post. And that's so true. Hey, we often tend to just live life in such a rush and just not
Yeah.
stand back and just wait for your bag. It's gonna come. You're gonna spot it, and but everyone stands around that carousel like
Yeah.
it's gonna come out any faster, isn't it?
It's such a little snapshot of like the world's mindset. And that's one
It's
thing I've had
true.
to like teach myself is there's no point in rushing. Like I was actually chatting to someone today about life and everything we do. I think we're always trying to sort of reach the end and be like, okay, I've figured it out. This is it. And it's like, you're never going to do that. Like whether it's with
No.
business, with income, with marriage, even with faith and with God, it's like, it's a never ending journey. And rushing
Yes,
is a
absolutely.
pointless thing. So just go with the
Yes,
flow, be patient, and that's when you receive the most and actually have the best experience. So trying to do that myself,
absolutely.
teach others along the way.
Yeah, and it's a good. I like that you brought that up. It just goes to show. Sometimes I should have. You guys do these sound checks, testing 1, 2, 3, and here's me. Um, I didn't press the record button. Well, we had the video, but we didn't record. But that's okay, and that's sometimes we've just got to.
Yeah.
It's water for ducks back, and at least I got the opportunity to chat to you. Bud, you've got obviously a huge Christian influence in your music, and I think that is so. Uh, it's it's probably the one of the things we don't hear, or sorry, one of the things it's one of the genres we don't hear enough of in the industry, and still being able to have that musical bang and push, and you can comfortably play your music in the evening at an event, and everyone, like we mentioned earlier, has a beer or a bit of dinner in front of them, and you've actually got lyrics that send out the Christian word, and to me that's a 10 out of 10 from my side, and it's inspiring, and like you can agree, we aren't anything without the Lord, and the music and the way that it hits us is just so much more impactful when we've got our own little touch to the song, And that's why I said, you got that Johnny Clegg feel about you, and voice as well. So, yeah, can you discuss a little bit about your religious background and currently, and how it involves your music a bit, or
Yeah, so
entirely?
yeah, for sure. So I mean, I truly believe, I mean, God used music basically to bring me to salvation and to introduce himself into my life.
Mm,
And kind of it just happened first of all through a friend who I think was like started off as a big brother in high school, became a mentor, now we're like best friends in church. And I think just him bringing me into the space, introducing me to people, exposed me to the community and the heart of it. And yeah, and then eventually I met the pastor of the church, actually at a gig for his wife, and I was helping out playing acoustic. Before I knew it, I was singing, and this was kind of before I even really had committed my life to God or had
mm,
sort of figured out that space. And then while I was just on the platform, being exposed every weekend, listening to the word, yeah, God just did a work in my heart, and eventually
that's good.
you can't look back and you can't deny it. You see who he is,
Excellent,
what
bud.
he's done, and how real he is. And then yeah, I suppose the last 3 years have sort of been me on a journey of getting myself right because it doesn't happen overnight.
No,
Um, and I've gone through a lot of ups and downs, and but he's really helped me break through. And in the last season, I've learned to really like, okay, God, this is your gift. So I
mm,
surrender it to you. You use it at your will, and that's just really unleashed its most power. I've seen more people being touched by the music, the impact
absolutely.
just from being out there. You don't even have to say it anytime. Sometimes it's just people, you come off stage and they're like, there's a presence,
Wow.
and that's all the Lord, and spending more time with him. And yeah,
Mm,
I also like to write. I don't write like a lot of artists where I'm like, okay, I'll write a story out, make songs. I kind of just improv. Like I worship by singing, and it's the one thing that keeps me calm. And so it's the one thing that no matter how I'm feeling, I can do, and it'll help
mm.
me sort of, come to a calm state, and I improvise and songs come out, and God just kind of speaks through. So I'm just trying to
Living testimony.
basically,
Yeah,
yeah, deliver the songs with excellence as much as I can for him, and it's going to do a work in people's lives, and I've seen that. So I've basically tried as best as I can to take what I've been doing in church and worshiping God and singing there into my secular music, playing in pubs, at festivals, at weddings, and vice versa. And yeah, it's been huge to see how he's opened it up and the reaction. So yeah,
that's great, man.
it's everything. It's yeah.
You know what I like specifically about your guitar is that you've put the cross on your fretboard, and I think that's a super cool touch to a guitar, and it just shows the importance in your
Can I tell you a
life.
story about that quickly?
Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't actually. It's crazy. It's such a God thing because my guitar was basically we were doing about to do an acoustic show, and my guitar was on and off, my old guitar, and then my one mate, he'd recently bought one, a custom made guitar from a guy locally, and he's like, dude, let me phone this guy because I really enjoyed the way his guitar sound. He's like, there's an off chance because this guy basically makes, his name's Sean O'Neill's a local guitar maker, and he has one guitar at a time. When he sells one, he uses the money to make a new one.
Okay.
And so he phoned him up and he's like, Sean, we need a guitar for like next week. My mate, he's really good. It'd be a worthy sort of customer for you. And he was like, turns out he just finished one.
Yes.
So I went there and he's like, it's actually quite a funny story because apparently there was a doctor who left practicing medicine, had this guitar made, also a Christian, but then he like ended up unfortunately in a financial situation and couldn't afford it. So I happened to be there. I needed a guitar, and then I took one look at it and I saw the cross there, and I was like, okay, God's made this. It's for me. So
That's it.
I think it's even better like as a story than I
Yeah.
made it,
No, for
than I
sure.
decided how to make it. So
But
yeah,
that's so powerful, and especially um especially that it's done in plain sight. You're going to all these gigs and stuff, and um, that is you. That's what your brand is, and I respect that, bud. Um, so just moving on, you've done quite a few travels around local, inbound, down to Cape Town. Any trips down in Cape Town, within South Africa that have kind of really inspired you to go back, and what are the how's the journey been for you, on the road? Any challenges? I know we discussed it a little bit earlier about um those road trips are um your time, and your time to think, and just have a little bit of a reflection, on what needs to be done, what has been done, and where you're going. And it's not just all just driving, to the destination. Can you elaborate a bit about your travels?
Yeah, so I mean, it's been because it can be traveling can be seen as a biggest part of the job. I mean, sometimes you like this last weekend, I basically took off on Friday afternoon, got back Sunday night to play 2 hours
Yes.
in Bloemfontein just because of the way the timing worked out. And it can be seen as like, oh, a waste of time, or maybe you should charge more for these days. And yes, obviously there's justification to that, but I've learned I mean, it's something you're not going to get around. You can optimize as much as you can, but you're going to be traveling. It's part of it. It's an investment that you make, and it's a blessing. And I think that's it.
Mm.
Is just to really to to look at it as a blessing and make the
Yeah.
most of it. So like you said, I use it as because driving especially really helps me focus and clear my head because I'm an overthinker like most of the human race. And then in that time, I get to meditate, listen to things, be calm, and yeah, and we can just enjoy the scenery, enjoy God's
Mm.
creation. So I've learned to do that. Also, then obviously like when I'm flying to be productive. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, literally the last 8 weeks I've been in another province. I think 4 times between Gauteng, Limpopo. I've been to Bloem. I've been to Cape Town. Awesome to get to see these places. In terms of a lot of them have inspired me, and I think the biggest thing is I get to also see many different cultures, many different types of people, walks of life, which makes me first of
Mm.
all grateful for my lifestyle because
Mm.
you see how much lack there is out there, even overseas. I mean, I've done 2 trips into Africa, which is, I mean, people complain about this country. I'm like, no one has a right when you see how some of the world is suffering. I've been to first world
Absolutely.
countries. So yeah, I think it's really blessed just to be able to get that mindset of what's
Mm.
happening out there and to actually take stock of what you have as an
Mm.
individual and get to be in all those places. So yeah, it's a lot, but I've really found to utilize it and I believe God's got a purpose in the traveling for me. So I've learned to
Absolutely.
enjoy it and it's part of the ride. So yeah.
Your colleague that you work with, your other musician partner, how did you guys meet, and what type of mindset and involvement does he have towards the band, and how long have you guys been together on this journey, as maybe a duo, did you call it? Yeah.
Yeah. So we've had a relationship for a long time, pretty much like 4 or 5 years. Because what happened was when I started at the church, eventually I was obviously the church guys knew that I was wanting to get into recording music, and basically my first sort of studio experience was at the church studio. So this was like also in around 2019, 2020. Um, and Mbongeni, who you're talking about, he was doing an internship there. So I was in there most days.
Okay.
He was most days. So it started off just as a friendship. Um,
That's great.
he loved music. He was actually also he was always passionate about it. He wasn't really sure what direction he wanted to take, whether he wanted to study, play. So he was a drummer at first. That was his first taste of music. And we just, yeah, we grew together. And then eventually I realized, like, when I'd had so many bookings and I was doing quite well, I had some spare cash. I basically offered him a job handling my admin. So, which he
That's
still does
great.
now.
Oh, awesome, man. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah.
So yeah, I saw it as a opportunity for him to do
Brilliant.
a bit of work, and then it's basically developed from there where he did that. Then he started getting involved with helping me make videos. And then as soon as he jumped into the videos, the reaction of the fans just sparked. Like Oaks loved it. I think it's
John
obviously, look, he's a
Johnny
very,
Cleggfield. Yeah.
exactly. He's just a very likable face and likable guy. Like everyone, and he's just entertaining, even if he's just sitting
Yeah.
there breathing. So
That's it.
basically, it actually, we didn't plan it, but then a corporate company basically called us up and said, "Hey, can you and your drummer, because he played a bit of percussion while we were doing it, do a 3 hour set for us?" And we were like, "Oh, sheesh, well, we've done like 2 videos. We never actually played a set." And I just decided, you know what, let's take a leap here. So I bought a little electronic drum pad and we hustled, we put together a set, and yeah, it went really well. And yeah, so
Excellent. Yeah.
we played, our biggest sort of breakthrough was we went on the road with the DA as basically the entertainment to start every single one of their rallies during the pre-election rally sort of timeline. And that was epic, just to draw together, I think, for people to see people of two different colors and cultures. You
Mm.
know, it's been amazing. So we're figuring it out, because it is tough, because obviously I don't make enough that I can just split all my earnings to have a drummer now. And also he's got another job. So yeah, we're just trying to figure out what God wants to do with both of us. But it's been amazing just to be able to share a lot of the moments together. And it does get lonely out there being a one-man band. So I really appreciate him. It's funny because he's in cuck today, because he messed up
Yo.
something. He's simple that he told him many times, but we both taught each other a lot about
That's
also
good.
personal connections and relationships. So
That's great. Yeah.
that's Ngeni, and I hope for everyone to see him more. Yeah.
That's great. And the right time and the right place, and it all happen when it needs to. I'm sure you got a plan, and yeah, God will make it happen in due course. But going on to stage and some of the events that you've played, I see you um, have this unique demeanor on stage, and this way about a public performance, and that's kind of like also is a huge part to the not just the profession, but the crowd relationship that you have. You guys, do you guys ever walk on stage and just get like stage fright? Like, oh my gosh, there's so many people. Like, am I going to stuff up? Like, what is your mindset behind it? Like, have you ever been or walked up on stage and just been like, yes, I've had such a bad day, and what are your coping mechanisms to changing that mindset into, yeah, I've got to be on stage now if it's ever happened, and what are your coping mechanisms, and is it like, do you have a cup of tea with like 4 sugars in it, or is it a Red Bull, or like what is it, BioPlus, like what gets your engine going just before you're about to make everything happen, like on stage? Can you give me a bit of an insight in the people?
Yes, it is. It's tough. I've never really been one to get super nervous, like at least not in the traditional sense. I'm always just very aware of all the stuff. So it's more like I'm aware of, okay, what can hold back my set, and that's usually, okay, is the sound working, is everything on, um is the volume right? So I don't really ever panic. I'll plan and maybe overthink stuff and be like, oh, I must do this and that. So the main thing is I've just taught myself to be calm and sort of surrender it over, where it's like, okay, you've done as much work as you can.
Mm,
You know what to do. You've done this 1,000 times. So my current sort of pre-gig rituals, I'll pray, just
That's good.
ask God obviously to bless the performance, just to give me a calm state of mind. If there's opportunity, I actually like to take communion before, because
That's so important. Yeah.
I find that that just reconnects you. It's a sign of humility as well, that like we're not
Absolutely. Yeah.
perfect, that we sin, and it's his perfect gift that we go out with. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I just make sure I'm as prepped as possible. But then also I realize, like, sometimes if I'm trying to achieve something too much, you lose capitalizing that moment, because that's the thing about a performance, is it's also just about that special moment with those people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And if you remove everything else and you get that right, I mean, that's why, like, some guys can captivate an audience with just a guitar, and even just with the stuff they say, not even the songs.
Yeah. Sense of
Whereas
humor,
like,
maybe. Yeah.
yeah, whereas like most of us, like, I mean, I'm always striving to have the perfect set, make sure the volume's right, the perfect parts, which is a part of it, and obviously a part of my success is trying to achieve excellence no matter what I'm doing.
Brew, when you go on stage, your Hawaiian shirts are like, I'm here to party. I'm here
Yeah,
to have a good time. It's that beach vibe. It's like, I don't know. It's just some videos I've seen. That's kind of just it's good for the crowd, and the moving around, and not being so um, image conscious is also probably something you good at. You just like, out there singing your best, vibing with the crowd, and doing what a lot of people actually can't do, but like you said, can actually perform in other ways that brings up their performance. So you've just got the gift, I guess, to be able to be a good stage performer. And yeah, God bless for that.
thanks. Yeah, no, it's taken a lot of. I think I had seasons where I was too stuck behind what I was doing, which is fine, because I'm also, like, you're always learning your craft. But
Yeah.
I think that's also the biggest thing I'll say is leading worship in church, where I've just got a guitar in my voice, and using that, and being free in that, and then taking that sort of experience, into playing and sort of blending the two. That's been a huge teacher for me, because I realize how much of an impact you can make as well, by just sometimes now I'll drop all the loops, the drums, everything, and just sing 3 songs with the crowd. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's been a learning curve, but yeah, thanks. I really appreciate it, and I've seen sort of that people's appreciation of me engaging on stage, and it's been a huge reward to myself as well. So yeah, thanks,
I
man.
don't know. Oh, sure. So I don't know if we did discuss it, but you went to school in sort of the Upper Highway region, am I correct?
Yes, yeah,
And we discussed a bit earlier that you um, raised in what was it, Kloof or Waterfall? Did you say
clear, yeah, clear.
Kloof? Yeah, that was it. And but I mean, we've got a really really cool bunch of people that live in our town that have a really good vibe when they feel like it. There's days where it's and then it's up. It is what it is. Nature of the game, according to the weather too. But I
100%.
mean, yeah, man. Would you find yourself to be a people's person? And are there days where you have to make yourself one because you're a on stage performer and that's your business, communication, and what kind of energy do you have to bring to these gigs?
Yeah, I mean, luckily, I think it comes naturally, which also has made me realize it's part of my calling. Um, yeah, I mean, like, even on my worst day, I think I give off maybe a demeanor that's easier than a lot of people's best day, and that's just a natural thing. Um, it's no one's it's not a down on anyone. Everyone carries themselves differently. I mean, it's genetic. It's how we made.
That's a
Uh,
gift.
Yeah,
Yes,
and that's the thing is like that's why I also don't like let it pride myself because when everyone's like, oh, such a nice person and this and that, and yes, you do have to. I have to be intentional about. I think my just remaining humble and I think going an extra mile with the crowd is the biggest thing because it's very easy just to rock up, play, be like, okay, cool, cheers. So I'm always trying to give a bit of extra time if there's people they want to connect. Because yeah, I mean, it's such an honor. I mean, especially like when someone's kids are like look at you like a hero or want you to sign something. I mean, I, I just encourage everyone
that's
whoever
so
has
great. Yeah,
an opportunity like that. It's massive. I mean,
huge. Yeah.
to inspire, especially the youngsters.
Mm.
It's also it's important because I think a lot of people get to that stage and then they forget how responsible then they are because it's like if they
That's
do
so
something
true.
wrong, they fall, it's you still people are following you. So
Yeah,
I'm very always intentional about that. But yeah, luckily, I mean, I love people, and the more that I give a bit extra, the more I get blessed, and I get used to it, and I enjoy it. I
mm.
suppose that's just what Jesus taught us. Is it's like it says, it's more blessed to give than to receive, and we need to love each other, our brothers and sisters.
That's it. Yeah,
It takes work. I think even for me, I used to be like an extroverted introvert, but working on it
it's
and
a full time job on its own. Yeah,
yeah, and making sure I do my best to give everyone. Look, you only have so much capacity, and sometimes I'm like, I've also learned to be like, hey guys, I'm burnt out. I need to just chill.
it's me tap
Sorry,
out. Yeah,
no slight on you. It's just I'm only human.
yeah,
You got to learn that as well. Yeah,
indeed. Yeah,
we just all need to be gracious towards each other. And like, if someone that you think, because I mean, I have conversations with people about artists, and they're like, "Oh, I heard that guy's like a not a lacquer guy, and he blew this person off." And I used to be like, "Oh yeah, man, if you did that," but I also realized if you catch someone on a day where they're just having an off day,
bad luck.
it might not
Yeah,
be the true intention of their heart. So just if
that's
your
it.
idols or celebrities let you down, like until you
That's
know
it. Yeah,
or how their heart is, don't judge. And everyone's going through something. Yeah, just give of your best, be as nice as you can, and then
yeah.
everything gets along. So yeah.
Yeah, that's good advice. I actually like that. I appreciate that too, and it's something to I have to remind myself to do more so every day. Um,
Yeah, it's
especially where I'm
daily.
yeah. I mean, I'm in a career where, as I've discussed with other guys that I've had chats with, um, you know, I'm in a career where I travel away for a very long period of time, and the environment can be a little tricky. Um, everyone's missing home. Everyone needs to
Yeah.
earn their bucks and get home safely. Work hard and keep a smile on their face, and I think that's what's important. Eh? I have a question for you, Tanner. Ever done a stage dive?
No.
It's
Definitely on the bucket list though.
gonna
Yeah.
happen. We'll
I think
have to make that happen.
the problem with me for that is I'm always like got a guitar on, or I'm plugged into my monitoring system. So I can't really like make it that spontaneous, but I trust God there will be a day where I can be like, okay, I'm going
Yeah.
for it. Um,
Hold my guitar. I'll be back now. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
No, that's good, man. So just a little bit more. We don't have much time. I know we're shooting overtime at the moment, but I just want you to
stress.
tell everybody where they can reach you, a little bit about your page. I know you're on multiple social media platforms, and what are those platforms, and when is your next gig?
Yeah, so actually it's good week to call because my next gig is at Waxy O'Connor's in Hillcrest on Friday.
Excellent.
Bit of a last minute booking, but yeah, it's like I don't play a lot of small venues like that anymore, but that one was one that's really like blessed my
It
heart
rocks.
since I started, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the locals. So I try to do it twice a year still. So it's gonna be the last one for the year. So if you guys are around the Upper Highway, pull in 6 o'clock.
Excellent.
Otherwise, yeah, I've got a website, tannerwareham.com, that has everything. All my links to videos. It's got my bios, my story, merchandise, all my events. But I'm on every platform as Tanner Wareham. So if you just put that in Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, you can find the story. You can find what I do. Yeah, and just shoot me a
Great. Yeah.
message on any
I'm
of
gonna,
those.
yeah, 100%. And I'm gonna put a link below for
Awesome.
where they can reach you, and
Thanks.
then a link to your Spotify as well. And then yeah, hopefully we can continue this good journey, bud. Yeah, and God bless you.
Sure.
Shot for your time, bro, and thank you
Thank
for
you, man.
sharing your story. And yeah, big things are gonna happen. I've got high hopes for you, bud. So yeah,
Amen.
keep up the
Appreciate it.
energy. Good
Shot, you
job.
too. Yeah, good on
Yeah,
you for your work as well, brother. God bless.
thanks. Cheers, brother. Much appreciated. Take care. Hey, all the
Yes.
best.
Back up.
Cheers.